Hi, everybody. This is Ben Colby, Teen Librarian at Enoch Pratt, coming to you from the Teen Center. Today, I'm going to talk a little more about sculptures, and I'm going to share a geometric option with you um, instead of an organic one. I thought the flower came out nice, but here's a different option for you. I'm going to all the shape generators. I've picked out a few that I want to use, and I'm just going to start by pulling them onto my workspace. The first one is on page 3, the cone metric gear. The second one is on page 9. Better to just get these out now so I don't struggle to find them later. The lozenge I want to use. I don't know why they call that shape a lozenge, but anyway, it's a nice shape. You could pick out anything you like, really, or just grab them one at a time as needed. I want to use this one, which actually I'm not even sure how to say because they cut the name off. Cubo, hemio, octa, something, probably octahedron, maybe. Uh, and on the 13th page, I like the circular array. So I'm going to work with these four just to make a sculpture. So let's get this outer shape. I want to use this as the outer shape. Let's just make it 100 by 100. We can always adjust the shape later in the slicer if we want. And I like the idea of using this as the outer shape with these flat square panels, but then filling in the inside with other stuff. For example, the lozenge shape. So let's bring this to a similar size and see how that looks if we just overlap it. And throughout this activity, I'm going to use the align button over and over. So the way I use that is I hold shift and select two things, or I could drag a box over them. I use the align tool. In this case, I want it to align in the X direction and the Y direction in the center. So that looks pretty cool, and you can see that those bits kind of stick out on the side. I think that's a nice little accent to the surface. Very good. So I'm going to create another piece here. I'm going to Alt and drag it away holding Alt. And this, I think, can be the inside shape. So what I'm going to do is just make it a little smaller and a little taller and change it into a hole. I'm also going to rotate it slightly, and I'm going to actually line it back up before I rotate it because I want to see if I can't get this alternating, which would create some gaps in the middle of the pattern. Okay, so I just use the align tool again. And you can see if I cut this out, it'll create an even surface around the outside. I don't really want it to be even though. I want it to be like a halfway cutout point. That's pretty good. So if I were to just group these three shapes together now, let's see what that looks like. Really cool. It's got this kind of square frame on the top. And the inside looks like the lozenge shape. And I've got this diamond stick pattern kind of going around on the outside. So I like where we're going with this so far. I think I want to leave it open on the inside so I can maybe put stuff in there. So that's pretty good. I'm going to ungroup it again. Because I actually, you know what would happen? What would happen? Let's check. Oops. I'm going to undo that. What if I only select the whole shape and just stretch it up a lot? And let's just see what that looks like. Is that a different kind of cutout? Oh yeah, that's different. Whoa. So we end up with these sticks kind of coming up in the gaps. I really like that. I'm going to keep that. Um, on the bottom, I would like to add this cone shape. Let's just zoom in a little bit. I just want to make it large, and I'm holding the shift key while I make it large. You can change all these settings too, by the way, if you want to affect the way it looks. So now that I've made that rather large, I want it to be big enough to show up on the bottom. So now let's try aligning one more time. And actually, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to ungroup this one more time. Great. And so I'm dragging a box over what should be 4 shapes now, aligning them one more time. This is much easier than trying to eyeball it. Now, I don't love that. Well, hold on. It didn't align properly because I have to align it this way. Okay, that's actually okay. I kind of like how it sticks out. And it even sticks out of the bottom surface here a little bit, which I think is pretty cool. That'll work. I like that as the bottom. I want to add a rim around the top. So actually, I'm just going to go to my basic shapes. And what's a good rim shape? Let's just take a torus. Going to make it, let me kind of look from the top so I can kind of get this right. It's a pretty thick shape, and I wonder if I can go back over here. I'm going to change the radius from 7.5 to 5. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the tube radius to be smaller, so it's going to go from 2.5 down to 1.5. There we go. It's just going to be a skinnier ring, and I'll just keep taking that down from 1.5 to 1, and we can even make this radius higher back to where it was. Okay, so I've got a more skinny ring going on there, and it seems like it's about, nah, it's too big. Make it a little smaller. Okay, so one more align. I'm going to just drag a box over all of these things, align in this direction and this direction. And there's the torus on the bottom. I want to lift it actually up to the top to be a rim at the top. And it looks like that hole is actually going to cut out of that rim just a little bit. So that actually could be nice. What if we take this rim down just a little bit to actually be touching the sticks that come up? That way everything will be held together a little more strongly. Okay, last thing I want to add to this top rim is the circular array. So I guess I could use a square. How about a circle, though? That's pretty good. So I would like to make this about the same radius as everything, which means it has to be a little bigger. I want it to be up near the top, and I want it to be pretty flat. There would be different ways to space shapes around the edge. But now that I have these little hockey pucks, let's just see what they look like when I align them with everything else. Okay, I've lost the hockey pucks in the design, but I can still, I have to turn the align tool off. Okay, so I can still make these a little wider and I think a little lower because I want them to be aligned to the ring. So let's align it one more time. I lost them again, but that's no big deal. It adds a neat little highlight, and you can see how you would keep modifying that if you wanted to keep making changes. By the way, let me point out the custom profile here. If you choose the custom profile instead of one of the others, you can actually change the shape of it by dragging these points. Oh, and actually, I really like that. I'll just keep that. So I just want to make it a little bigger so I can see that pattern a little bit. And align one more time. Okay, so what's this look like when I group it all? It's going to be weird looking, but it will be a functional container. Wow. I'm hitting F to recenter. I think it's really interesting how these little bits got left sticking up at the top. I think those look pretty cool. I really like how these gaps remained in there. I really like how some of the edges of the design showed up on these flat surfaces. And I'm pretty happy overall with this. It is a very nice little geometric art sculpture container.